Hello honors pre-calculus students, this is Mr. Cazzato, and the learning target here is to find the limits as x goes to infinity or the left and right hand limits. So this video should help you understand how to find the left and right hand limits. At any time you can pause and try the problem before I go through it. So if you look at the function f of x, the limit as x goes to infinity, there are two ways that people like to do this. Some people like to multiply this out. So if you were to multiply this out, you're going to get negative 4x squared and some other terms divided by x squared plus some other terms. And that's going to go to negative 4. So the limit as x goes to infinity is negative 4. The second way people like to do this problem is plug in a large number. So negative 4 times a billion times a billion, and in class we talked about the negative 2 and the 5 are relatively small, divided by a billion times a billion, and again you can see that that goes to negative 4. Part B, the limit as x approaches negative 3 from the right. That little plus sign there means from the right. So you're plugging in negative 2.9999. So you're plugging a number close to negative 3 but a little bit to the right. So what happens to f of x? So you have negative 4 times a negative number times a positive number divided by a small positive, so I'm going to write small positive, divided times a negative. So the three negatives make a negative, and dividing by a small number makes this go to infinity. For part C, you're plugging in a number a little bit to the left of negative 3, like negative 3.0001. So again, if I look at the function f of x, I have negative 4 times a negative number times a positive number divided by a small negative times another negative. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives, so that's going to go to positive infinity. And technically this is the limit, so I should just have, instead of an equal sign here, probably it'd be better notation to have an arrow, meaning this function goes to infinity. So for part B, this goes to negative infinity, and this goes to positive infinity. Let's look at letter D. So for letter D, I'm approaching 5 from the right, so a number a little bigger than 5, like 5.0001. So f of x, we're going to have a negative 4 times a positive divided by a positive and then a small positive. So this is going to go to negative infinity. As you approach 5 from the left, so you're plugging in 4.999, what's happening to f of x? So you have negative 4 times a positive times another positive divided by a positive and then a small negative. So the two negatives are going to make a positive, divided by a small number. This is going to go to positive infinity. Notice the exponents on both of these are 1. The one is going to negative infinity, the other one's going to positive infinity. Likewise on letter D. Now those could switch, but since it's an odd multiplicity, one has to go up, one has to go down. Let's look at this problem number 2. So in problem number 2, again, what is the limit as you go to infinity? So some people, again, like to multiply this out, so you get negative 3x squared over x cubed. This is going to go to negative 3 over x, which is going to be very small, so that's going to go to 0. On the graph, we know the horizontal asymptote then is y equals 0. In part B, approach negative 4 from the right, so you're thinking about negative 3.999. So what happens with f of x? So you have negative 3 times a negative divided by, now it's going to be a small positive number, and when you square it, it's still a small positive, and then another negative. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives, so that's going to go to positive infinity, because when you divide by a small number, it goes to infinity. Part C, negative 4 from the left, so negative 4.000.1. So f of x is going to be negative 3 times a negative times another negative divided by, now x plus 4 is negative, but when you square it, you're going to get a small positive times another negative. So we have 4 negatives, so this is going to go to positive infinity again. Notice both are going to positive infinity, and that exponent is 2. Let's look at letter D. F of x approaches 2 from the right. So 2.0001. F of x is negative 3 times a negative times another negative divided by a positive and a small positive. So 3 negatives is going to make this negative, divided by a small, it's going to go to negative infinity. Part E, as x approaches 2 from the left, so you're plugging in 1.9999. So what's happening to f of x? You've got negative 3 times a negative divided by a positive, and then times a negative, and it's a small value. So we have 4 negatives, which makes this go to positive infinity. Notice the exponent is 1, and 1 is down, and 1 is up. So I'm hoping that you found this useful to find the left and right hand limits.